The reason I wanted to set this up as a recording is I'm going to post it on our website, and I'll get more into that in the presentation. Let me start by sharing my screen here. Like I said, I have a presentation, and then we'll open it up for questions. We do have a lot of folks on this call, so I would ask if you have questions, if you could put them in the chat, type them into chat, and then when I finish the presentation, I'll go through and we'll see if we can't answer your questions related to this airport overlay district. Sue, before I get started, did you want to do any opening remarks?
Just thank you all for joining us on your Tuesday evening. I'm Sue Schwartz. I'm the planning director of the city. We put this informational session and it'll be repeated on Thursday because we know this is kind of a wonky thing. Zoning to begin with gets most people confused, but we're talking about overlay and related to the airport and dealing with other issues. And hopefully if at any time, so for example, like Steve said, if you have questions, please put it in the chat. But even when you're done, we have our contact information. If say tomorrow you're thinking about it and you go, but oh man, I should have asked that question. Steve's going to have his email address. We'll be able to just, we want to make sure we get you good information throughout this process. So with that, I'm going to turn it back over to Steve, and hopefully we have some good information for y'all.
Actually, Sue, it's with a smile on my face that I can honestly say that everyone on this call has my email address right now. That's how they got in. All right, starting with the presentation. Want to first start by going over, whoops. There we go. Here, city planners have two tools they can use to guide development in the city of Greensboro. The first one is the base zoning regulations, and the second are overlay districts. For base zoning districts, if a property that they apply citywide and they have the dimensional standards for uses and development in each one of our zoning districts, and those regulations are citywide. So as an example, if you have commercial property that is, or have property that is zoned commercial on the north side of town, it has the same setbacks, development standards, and height limits as if the property was zoned commercial in the south side of town. The second tool we have is a little bit different. It's called an overlay district. And these are additional regulations for a specific geographic area. So depending on where that area is located, the additional regulations are tailored for that particular area. We do have an overlay district around the airport called the Airport Overlay District. And the purpose of this overlay district is really threefold: to ensure that uses around the airport are compatible with airport operations, to minimize the negative effects that aircraft noise will have on homes, and to prohibit large structures which will interfere with the operation of the airport. Again, additional set of regulations for a specific geographic area, like all overlay districts. The additional regulations are twofold. We require written documentation for structures over 50 feet so that the airport knows what's going on. And the second regulation is there is a prohibition for residential uses except for single family detached dwellings on lots greater than 40,000 square feet. Through this presentation, I'm going to go over the changes we'll be making. We are not going to be making any changes to the written documentation for large structures. So that will not be changing. Again, like I said, it's tied to a specific geographic area. The geographic area we're using was adopted by our city council in November of 2003, when they went from using the boundary of the 65 decibel line to the 60 decibel line. And that was from the airport area plan that the county actually approved back in 2002. Moving over to the 60 DNL line, as we call it, the day-night average line, is an area that the airport has determined as part of their Part 150 study that the average level of noise in 24-hour period, day and night, is 60 DNL, and that comes out to a geographic area. And that is the current boundary that we are using for our airport overlay district. As it turns out, in 2007, the airport updated their Part 150 study, and there's a new set of maps out there. Again, we're going to be staying with the 60 DNL line, And the 60 DNL line, the 60 decibel line, actually has decreased. And that decrease was due to airport operations and the types of aircraft that are using the airport. When we presented this to the representatives from the airport, we were proposing to actually amend our geographic area to match up with the 60 DNL line from the 2007 study. The airport was a little hesitant with that because if the airport was to expand, they wanted to make sure that future development was reflective of the potential for the increase of aircraft traffic. We also wanted to keep in mind that even though there is a line on the ground, the 60 DNL line, there is still aircraft noise outside of that area. One of our goals in crafting these changes was that if a property owner had a particular right or a use was allowed currently, that we continue to allow that use. And our last goal that we wanted to achieve with these changes is to make sure that we had a limited number of nonconformities, that we did not create any additional nonconformities as part of these changes. Like I said, the 2007 maps have shown a decrease in the 60 DNL line. And what we are proposing is to divide our current airport overlay district into two sub-districts, a District A and a District B. And I'll go over each one of those districts. In District A, we'll be using the 60 DNL line from the 2007. That will be the geographic area. And the regulations that will be pertain to that sub-district, District A, will continue to prohibit residential uses except for those, prohibit single family, except for single family residential on lots greater than 40,000 square feet. So that regulation will continue. That's the current regulation, and that will continue. In the District B, which you'll see is the area between our current boundary of the Airport Overlay District and District A, entirely north of Bryan Boulevard, will be a sub-district B, and that will be the geographic area for the regulations that pertain to District B. And those regulations are going to be twofold. We will allow residential uses in that area. We'll continue with the houses, single-family detached dwellings on lots greater than 40,000 square feet. But other types of residential will be permitted with two caveats. One is we'll have a regulation that requires written notification of the potential for noise so that future buyers will know that the airport is there and there's the potential for impacts from aircraft noise. The second caveat is if a residential unit is built in area B, in sub-area B, District B, the dwelling unit will need to be constructed and use building materials such that the inside noise will be reduced by 30 decibels. So we have noise reduction requirements for residential uses in District B. There is a regulation, current regulation in the Airport Overlay District, is if the parcel is split by the boundary of the district, then the line can move in effect. But there are two limits on that. One, it cannot move more than 600 feet. And the second limit is it cannot encroach into Area A. We have had public outreach. We've been doing this for a couple months now. The main reason I wanted to put this slide up on the screen is it gives you the website. It starts out with our base City of Greensboro website, which is greensboro-nc.gov. And if you type in /AOD, we'll get you to our dedicated website, our homepage or landing page for these changes. I wanted to bring that to your attention because it's it's got a lot of information on it. It's got information on these changes in the format of frequently asked questions. Got a video out there. They're also on the right-hand side is a hyperlink to an interactive map. And what that will do is allow you to type your address into the search bar and will tell you if that property is located in District A, District B, or outside the overlay district. I'll also be posting the recording of this presentation on the website, on that webpage within the next couple of days. The process for making these changes to our land development ordinance requires a hearing through our zoning commission and then adoption by city council. We did make a presentation of those changes I've outlined in this presentation to our zoning commission. And on our way to city council, the airport has asked for additional changes. They are asking for the noise level reduction requirements, those construction standards, and the notification requirement for all property located within the airport overlay district. Council has asked us to formulate this change into two options. The first option, option A, is what I explained to you, and option B will include these two standards for noise level reduction and notification in the overlay district. So we'll have an option A and an option B when we go to zoning commission and then on to city council. And I'll get you those dates as we proceed with the presentation. So in summary, option A will be presenting to the zoning commission and city council. We'll divide, again, both options divide the overlay district into two sub-districts, a district A and a district B. For option A, we will continue to allow single-family dwellings on lots greater than 40,000 square feet in sub-district A. And in sub-district B, continue to allow single-family dwellings on lots greater than 40,000 square feet, but also allow other residential uses with the notification and noise level reduction requirements. Option B that we will be presenting to the public hearings, again, divides the overlay district into two sub-districts. And in sub-district A, it will allow single-family dwellings on lot greater than 40,000 square feet, but we'll have the additional requirement for the notification and noise level reduction requirements. And the sub-district B will allow all residential uses with the notification and the noise level reduction requirements. Like I said, we had the process for making these changes to our land development ordinance requires a public hearing before a zoning commission. And at this time, we're scheduled to go to the zoning commission on May 17th. And then we're tentatively have set this item for the city council agenda on June 15th. And at that June 15th meeting, council will have several options, not only option A and option B on this one, but they'll have an option either not to make a change, adopt either A or B, or they can continue the item and ask staff to make changes, and then we can discuss. They can make a recommend or make a adoption at a future meeting. That concludes the presentation. I'm now going to open it up for questions. Let me stop sharing my screen, and I'll go over to the chat. And yes, it does look like we have some questions. Again, as I go through the questions, continue to type in. I have one here. It's asking if we will send out copies of the recording. Unfortunately, due to security in our email server, the recording is going to be too large for us to email out. But there will be a link on that web page, and the city of Greensboro has compiled all of their the videos for not only these presentations, but others on a YouTube channel. So the city of Greensboro has a YouTube channel, and I'll have the link to that YouTube channel on our website, the address that I gave you earlier. The next question we have is Horsepen Creek in the airport overlay. How come there's so much multifamily building being done? That's a great question. Let me see if I can, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to that website, that the address I gave you, greensboro-nc.gov/AOD. And I'm going to bring up the interactive map. Let me, actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to share my screen so I can show you how to get to that information. Make sure I pick up the right. I don't see the choice. right, let me try something different here. All right, bring it up. Now go in. Yep, there it is, and share. Okay, if you were to type in the greensboro-nc.gov/ and stop at that point, you get to the planning department's homepage. Oops. Now I lost it. Let's try that again. Share. Okay, there you go. Yes, that's greensboro-nc.gov/ our planning. So it's the planning department's webpage. We do have a section on there to learn more about our airport overlay district. And the easiest way to get to that page is, like I said, /AOD. And in the right-hand side of the screen itself is the hyperlink to our interactive map. And there is a location for you to type in your address. What I'm going to do is, in order to answer this question on Horsepen Creek Road, is to navigate by hand. I'm going to zoom out just a tad here. This is the area in question, Horsepen Creek Road, which is this curved road up on the northwest section of our town. And you'll see that the pink shaded area is the boundary of our current overlay district and will be District B. And the question was the reason for so much multifamily out in that area. And I wanted to bring up this map to show that the multifamily, if you follow my arrow, we have a project to the north of Horsepen Creek Road, a project to the south. You'll see the multifamily project and a townhouse development on the edge here. And then we do have a multifamily project. And the reason I wanted to bring up the map is to show you what I was talking about on shifting the line. We do have a multifamily project here on Jessup Grove Road. And the outer boundary of the airport overlay district does split that parcel. So we do have the provision which would allow you to move the outer boundary of that district up to 600 feet. One of the other neat things about this interactive map is we do have a measure toolbar that you can click on and do measurements. And I wanted to show you that, whoops. Come on, give me the measure. I wanted to show you that they use that provision to actually shift the line 600 feet. So those multifamily buildings have been moved outside of the airport overlay district. As far as the reason for so much multifamily up in that area is that the land has gone through the rezoning process and is outside of the airport overlay district, which would allow multifamily. One of the things I do want to add is this is additional standards for land that's in the city of Greensboro. This particular change to our overlay district will not rezone any property, which would mean if multifamily is not allowed on that land now, then after this change, multifamily will not be permitted. They would still need to go through a rezoning process through our zoning commission and if appealed on through city council.
Steve, if I may, and a more basic reason why there's so much multifamily being built out in here, Basically, there's heck of a demand for multifamily in Greensboro and for housing in general. The Neighborhood Development Department completed a housing assessment before they did their 10-year housing plan, and the assessment showed basically across the board, with the exception of luxury apartments, our supply was woefully low. So what you're seeing is the market looking and saying, and we have a lot of jobs out here. So this is where people want to be closer to jobs or closer to transportation. So that's part of the reason why you're seeing more apartments being built out in this area. But again, as Steve said, I mean, this allows the possibility for a land use change, but if individual properties, whatever they're zoned now, if they're not zoned for multifamily, would have to go through a rezoning process, including public hearings and public notification.
Two other questions in the chat window. The first one is asking for a copy of this presentation. I will also be posting a PDF version of this presentation on the dedicated website address that I've given you previously. We have several documents on that website on the right-hand side, and you'll see that you'll be able to get to the presentation that way. The other question we have in the chat window is, what does the notification statement look like if you're going to sell property within the overlay district subarea B? And I put that on the screen there. And you'll see the wording, which in general will let the future owners know, or buyers of the property, that there are overflights and aircraft noise may have an impact on their property. And that will be in the disclosure statement. And you can work with your realtor to get that document into your paperwork. I believe that does it for all of the questions that I have seen in the chat box. If there are no more questions, or if you want to contact me offline, again, you have my email address. When I emailed you the invite to the Zoom meeting, feel free to send me an email and I can get the answers to your questions for you.
Steve, thank you so much for inviting us to this. Is this the presentation on Thursday, is it identical to today's?
Yes, it will be identical.
Okay. So if we listen today, we don't have to go on Thursday?
No, there's no reason for you to attend Thursday.
Thank you.
You really like
right.
Steve. You know, he does have a fan club.
It's recorded, and if you really want to listen to it again, you can go on the recording. Sue, do you want to do any closing statement, or?
Again, thank you all, and I hope this was helpful. And I know if this is the first time you're hearing about it, I know it can be a lot to take in. So we have a lot of information online on the website, as Steve's shown you. Take your time, and we are available for questions afterwards. You know how to find, and Steve is amazingly responsive to questions that come in, or if you need to just talk to him on the phone about it, because reading the email sometimes I have to hear it. I can't just, read an email and get something. So I understand that. But our point here is to make sure that you have the best information possible, that you understand what's happening and know when you have additional chances in the public hearing process to make your opinion known.
Steve, Sue, and Allison, thank you for your transparency.
No, thank you. Thank you for all attending. And if there's nothing else, we can sign off. Lynn, I did get a chat from you, and I will send you an answer to your question via email, either later tonight or first thing in the morning.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you, and goodbye.